What up, everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name's Nick Corona, and today we're going to be romping through the Sonoran Desert. If you've watched my channel before, you know I'm all about cameras, drones, adventures, that sort of thing. And today's adventure, well, I guess the moral of the story is things don't always go how you expect. Especially for me, because as you can tell from these videos, I'm romping. I really ride this bike hard, just like if it were a Yamaha, a KTM, or anything else. Except for that, if you've watched my other videos, you know that this bike was $2,000, brand new, delivered to the house, some assembly required. I mean, you get it in a crate, but I have been having an absolute blast on this thing, and I got it in the summer, so right now is like the prime riding time. It's a good time. And it was a good time. And check this out. This is me ripping a little slight burnout, I guess you could call it. This is slowed down to 5%. Isn't that awesome? I really love some good slow motion. And I really was having a good time. I was getting ready to do some drone shots, and I said, hey, it is so beautiful out here. Let me just go ahead and capture the sunset as we are at the beginning of golden hour. I'm going to set out to this beautiful road. It's going to be so awesome. And then this happened. It is not fun to kill a bike with no starter. So here's what happens, right? I don't have a starter. I have to push start it every time. Well, I have a starter. The battery and the electric system's dead. But then this happens. And that is where my engine cracked. I did not know it yet, but that little awkward fall felt perfectly on a stone that would have leveraged all of the bike's weight directly onto the aluminum engine case. So when this happens, and if this happens to you, as you see here, I'm just looking for slightly higher ground in something, less sandy so that I can push the bike, jump on it, get some grip, and get it started. Here's the thing. It's kind of hard to jump on the bike and split your legs and land on it properly. And also you rack yourself sometimes. So the reason the bike falls over here is because I'm running and then I'm just jumping on one side of it. So both my legs are on the left side. This works because it really slams your weight down quickly and it saves you that extra half second of trying to straddle onto the bike. Problem being, if you do it too hard, you don't have a leg on the other side and the bike smacks down. So basically, you should fix your electrical problems and make sure that you have a starter because this is hell. And as you can tell from the panting, I mean, I'm just freaking dying. Like, it's very exhausting to push start your bike in the desert. The next thing is that I actually did get the tire to spin quite a bit, heard the engine turning over, and it didn't start. So that's when I became worried. In retrospect, it was probably harder to start without any of that back pressure, in the case. And when it started, I could hear it a little bit because there's, a hole in the case, so it makes your engine noise a little bit louder. I was very relieved to get it started, finally. That was my second time dropping it, which was probably just more icing on the cake. I think it was already damaged because I was having such a hard time getting it started at this point. It's hard to know, but here I eventually kind of catch this downhill and it eventually fires up. This was one of the most exhausting things, but that's one reason I'm on this trail, guys. There's a lot of cars going by. It's a pretty main area. It's not like I would be stranded in the desert, but this is why I haven't really taken this bike into the deep desert because I'm just not confident in it yet. Although I do always manage to get it started and I do always manage to eventually make it home, it is a pretty discomforting feeling, especially if you're by yourself. Whew. That was exhausting just watching. I got some bad news about the Brozz, guys. Unfortunately, yeah, she's sitting outside because she's leaky. I accidentally cracked my engine. I set out last weekend to make a video for you guys, and I got about halfway through it and I cracked the engine. I was setting up the GoPro to do a shot. I stopped. I accidentally killed the bike. Of course, it wouldn't start back up, and when I was trying to push start it, this happened twice. I didn't think anything of it. I started riding around, and then all of a sudden I looked down and my right boot was just black and covered in oil. I could barely even keep it on the peg. It doesn't look too bad, but you generally can't have cracks in your engine, so we're gonna have to fix it. I thought it was like, oh, I have a cheap bike, but when I looked around I realized that happens and you can't just set your bike down on boulders. So no matter what kind of bike you have, avoid that. Alright, so it's a new day and I got the Brozz in the garage because it started to rain out. I just let it sit out and kind of drip out, and I've been thinking about it. I know in a lot of these JB Weld videos, the guys just really sand everything and put the JB Weld everywhere. My only thing is with the way this crack is, it's kind of cracked down into the engine, and I don't really feel comfortable sanding right there because clearly little particles are going to go down in there. So what I think I'm going to do is put a very small glob of JB Weld on just to cover the actual crack and protect it, then kind of sand around it and get some of the paint off, and then put another stronger layer on to hold it over. Also, being right here, I don't think it's like very high pressure because when I was riding back, oil wasn't even spilling out of it. I only realized that I noticed because I must have leaned the bike really hard on this side enough to make oil really splash up there. Because once my boot was covered, I didn't really get much more. So first I'm going to clean it, then I'm going to mix the JB Weld, which brings me to another thing. I wasn't going to get the 5-minute JB Weld, but it's just all they had. And after looking into it, even though it's not as strong as the other stuff, it should be plenty strong for this. So 5 minutes, we should be good. But really, I'll probably let it harden for like an hour or so and then put the bigger one on. We'll see. So let's give it a try. So first, we're gonna clean this area. You'll see a lot of people use oil, use whatever you want. I am just trying to get it clean for that initial glob. There's a small amount of exposed metal in there. It obviously doesn't stick well to the paint, but like I said, that's why we're gonna sand it afterwards. The JB welding mixer tool. I like this stuff because it's clear. A lot of that other stuff you see on the internet's like super gray and obvious, so if the 5-minute stuff is clear versus colored like the other stuff, that alone makes it worth. So actually kind of excited to see how this turns out. Alright guys, we're back. It's actually been a few days, and it's because I peeked at it and it didn't exactly take the way I thought it would. It appears to have not stuck at all. So I think what I'm going to try and do is put some more on, let it kind of harden, you know, just like the 5-minute set, but just a tiny amount where it needs to just cover up the gap, and then get my Dremel out, get a bunch of paint off in the whole area, and make it so that we can really fix this thing, because what I did looks hilarious. So the JB Weld repair so far is actually going better than expected. My plan to put the one layer on and then let it harden and then sand it off seems to actually be working out pretty good. And now you'll see there's just kind of one little black stripe in there. that I should probably get rid of, because the JB Weld, guys, the JB Weld doesn't stick to paint, as I learned here, because the JB Weld did pretty much stick to the wound, but it didn't stick to the paint. You saw me pull it right off, so I'm gonna have to get this little spot right here. So if you guys remember, the reason I'm going through all the trouble of this and the reason I was being really careful right there is because I don't want any of that dust to get in the engine, obviously, because it would just be paint and metal flakes, and then it would cause my engine to wear faster and eventually burn oil, etc. So I was being very overcautious, and now I'm gonna glob a bunch on there and make sure it really sticks into the metal. And then we should be good, and I think it'll be okay because I cracked it at the top, and this doesn't have a ton of pressure, and it will get hot, but the main core of the heat won't be right there. And I think this because also when I cracked it, it didn't actually even spill oil out until I like leaned the bike over to the point where oil sloshed up on the side, and then my whole ride home, nothing happened. And there's still some oil in it. So just based on that, I think it'll be okay. Alright guys, so I'm gonna give that some time to dry, and then I'll take a look at it and see how solid it seems, and if it seems legitimate and like something I can't scrape off or something I'm not going to immediately kick off and it's actually going to stay there, then I think it'll be time to drain the oil, put some new oil in, and fire her up. And all this maintenance just to eventually get to the regular stuff. So I am still missing my back brakes, which need to be replaced. I need to run it completely empty so that I can take the fuel tank off and fix the float, and remove the battery, find where the short is, fix the electrical system. And once I just knock those couple things out, it'll be looking like a pretty solid bike, as long as I don't get any more holes in the engine. Well, cracks. It was my fault. So I don't know. Anyways, manage your drips as it sets. You know, it should get thicker, so keep putting it where you want it. I'm gonna keep an eye on it for a minute, make sure it stays thick where I want it. I might even get a little bit more and just kind of glob it on there, and yeah, see how it goes. And it went quite well. You guys will have to subscribe to see how my next trip went. I can tell you right now, I've already taken it. And that brings me to my next point of rolling out memberships. I just kind of want to talk to you guys about my channel for a minute. It's not something I do very often. I'm more about you guys. Basically, my first 3 years of YouTubing is about how long it took me to get my first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all very much. And over the last 1 year, I'm basically on track to gain another 1,000 subscribers. And that's just amazing, guys. 3 years for my first 1,000, 1 year for my next 1,000. I mean, if we could get another 1,000 in 6 months, that'd be a great goal for me. But really, I'm just more concerned about giving you guys awesome content. And that's why I'm rolling out memberships. You guys will notice the join button below and see some different options. This is just a way for me to gauge what you guys want to see, make sure that you're enjoying what you see, as well as give you an option to provide you exclusive content for those who want it, and basically take this channel to the next level. The more you guys are willing to put in, the more I'm willing to put in, and I know we can do some really cool things. So let me know what you guys think, check it out. But overall, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have really enjoyed the last several years of YouTube with you guys, and I'm really trying to go hard in 2021. So let me know what it is that you want to see and what you want to do, whether it be just more content overall or whatever direction we go. But either way, I'm excited to have a really good year, a year of growth. It just feels so good for all of us to be on a fresh new page, doesn't it? Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Till next time, peace.